It's September 26th, 2024. This is Roqe. Hi there, welcome to episode 339 of Roqe. Welcome again to a brand new season of Roqe in a brand new studio. I'm Jian Gomeshi. Hello to you from Toronto. Hello to you from Canada. Salam Dostan Aziz, Durud Bar Shoma. Hope you are doing well wherever you are tuning in from around the world. We are here in our new studio. Hello, Smart Pegah.
Hello.
Namito.
Yes.
Does that word mean anything? Actually, that word means something.
Absolutely.
But it also means excellent DJ.
Yes, and I'm a fan.
You are?
A big fan, actually, yes.
Meaning you've been to his gigs? And
yes, many of them here in Toronto.
And he comes here. He's an Iranian-German DJ who's actually been at it for years, has a remarkable story of leaving Iran, fleeing Iran by himself at the age of 13, going to Germany, joining a commune, a kind of a roller coaster ride, starts to DJ at the age of 18 or something. 32 years later or something like that, he's now Namito, this globally known DJ brand.
That's right.
He is going to be here in the studio.
Very excited for that.
All right. Namito on this episode of Roqe. We're excited about that. Also, in the next 24 hours, if you're watching this on Thursday when we're posting this, tomorrow, Friday, September 27th, is our Roqe Live 3. Yeah. Which is where we do Roqe in front of a big theater audience. We tape it. It'll be the show next week. If you're listening to us anywhere outside of Toronto and you can't make the show live, it will be the recorded version we'll put out. But tomorrow night, live at the City Playhouse, Chapel Chapare, Nusha Farin, Onusha, Solmaz Bagir, Ariane and Sarah, special guests, Pegah
performances.
We're very excited about this.
Yes, very excited.
It looks like it's not quite sold out. But it probably will be in the next 24 hours.
Well, I mean, pretty much the VIP seats are all gone. So
VIP seats are gone.
That's gone. And there's some remaining seats left for the other sections.
I want VIP. I already got, just as soon as it sells out, you start hearing from the Iranians. Right. Jian, I need 5-star. I need VIP. I was like, dude, where have you been for 2 months? We had this on sale.
That's right.
Yeah.
But there's still some tickets. So if you're okay with non-VIP, which honestly at this theater, you can sit anywhere and you'll still get a great
I know,
view.
but you know how the Iranians are.
I know.
I am not coming. Why not? I need VIP. I need second row. What do you... it's the same guy I'm doing, yeah. Who's just a stand-in for all Iranians.
That's right.
A cheap...
The stereotypical
accent I'm doing. Roqe Live 3. We're very excited about this. We'll be posting from it and at it, and we'll have the full recording for you next week. If you are in the Greater Toronto area and you want to pick up those last tickets, do so. In the coming days here in the studio on Roqe, multimedia artist Max Jamali, musical dynamic duo Reza Rohani and Sarah Nayeni in the Roqe Studio. Pianist Shaqaiq Nusrati will be joining us as well. Lots of things for the new season of Roqe. You can react to that.
I thought you were going to keep going.
Silence.
Yeah, exactly.
No. That was a pause.
Yeah.
Before we get to Namito, as we do each week, what have you been most... Here's my new question. This is the way I'm going to frame it from now on.
Uh-oh.
What have you been most affected by this week?
Well, I've got my news on constant. I'm a news junkie. So, of course, I've been following Pezeshkian at the UN. That's been something huge the last couple of days. So I think
the new president of Iran.
That's right.
With his delegation.
With his whole entourage of 40-something people.
Seemingly red carpet treatment at the UN.
Yeah. I mean, it's been interesting to kind of watch that unfold. So he addressed the General Assembly yesterday for the first time as the president of the Islamic Republic.
2 days ago. Yeah.
2 days ago. Yeah, that's right. And so, he talked a lot about winning the election. I mean, first of all, he started off with talking about Raisi and him being a martyr and all of that, and then went on to talk about winning the election and really spreading this message of almost hope and peace, and talking about how he wants appeasement and he wants a ceasefire, and he talked about Ukraine and Russia and all these things. And of course, we've talked about this many times when the Islamic Republic comes to town, so to speak, and they bring this message. It's laughable because it's the Islamic Republic.
Does the name Khatami ring any bells?
Yes, exactly. So I've been following that, but also, seeing this made me think about some of the conversations that we've had over the last 2 years with, the Islamic Republic coming to a place like the UN and coming to New York and having the ability to walk the streets of New York.
Have a platform.
And
how do you feel about that?
I'm disheartened to see it because we've talked so many times about, other nations enabling the Islamic Republic and giving them the platform and allowing them to talk, and seeing these images of people kind of bow their heads to individuals like Pezeshkian and replaying the images of the atrocities that have been committed at their hands over the last 2 years. It's hurtful.
A member of the Red Cross, I believe, was bowing her head to...
Exactly. I mean, we had President Macron, we had the foreign ambassadors, everyone.
Okay.
So it's hard to see that. And,
But you've got a but there?
I've got a but.
Okay, what's the but?
I've got a but. The but is that Iran is a sovereign state, and they have a new president, and they are a member of the UN. So, in theory... I understand why they're there. Now, I want to emphasize that in
this
theory,
smile is my disagree face.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's what's affecting me the last couple of days, thinking about that and having this kind of internal battle with myself and thinking about that.
And would you invite Pezeshkian? I mean, if you had to make a choice.
Gun to my head, I would say no.
Oh, you'd say no?
I would say no.
Okay.
Because it would do more damage.
You told me before the show you'd say yes.
Well, see, this
so
is
you're
the
not
thing.
sure.
I can play it both ways. I really
Clearly.
can.
Look, first of all, a quick disclaimer. We are not a disclaimer, just a reality check. We're not primarily a political show at all. This, when people say, "Is this a?"
Right.
But there's things that we cannot ignore.
Absolutely.
Right? In between interviewing business people and artists and talking about the issues, cultural issues we face, all kinds of things like that over the last 4.5 years, there's moments where we can't ignore things politically. So this would be one of them. Sorry, my headline would be, the world does not care about the atrocities of the Islamic Republic of Iran. The world does not care about the Iranian people. How this guy, this president, the president of the Islamic Republic... By the way, the IRGC is on the terrorist list in the United States,
right.
Not to mention Canada now.
Finally.
We hear. Who is the president of the Islamic Republic of Iran? Does he have any connection to the IRGC? Maybe the person who oversees the entire, program. How this person is allowed to come to the UN, strut their stuff, take meetings. I would like to remind people, and people may not know this around the world, there are Canadian citizens who have lived in Canada for decades who of Iranian background who cannot enter the United States.
Exactly.
Because 35 years ago they had to do mandatory sadbozi. They had to be in the military.
Right.
And they're stopped at the border. Sorry, we can't let you in. Which side of the military were you on? All of that.
Matters of national
Canadian
security.
citizens can't get into the United States, but the president of the Islamic Republic of Iran can. A person who has overseen, who is part of a regime that has overseen the kind of atrocities that we thought the entire world was focused on over the last few years. Now being enabled, being welcomed, taking meetings, Macron, everybody. I mean, does Macron even remember meeting with activists and pledging his support against the regime that was killing children? And it's frustrating that that seemingly everyone's just buying the regime's playbook, which is, let's trade the guy who, by the way, was kind of an idiot and didn't have, couldn't string sentences together. And let's trade Raisi, who was killed mysteriously in a helicopter, for a new, friendlier, face and image, and just accept pledge the idea or hope for the idea the entire world is going to see this as a new, fresh face that we can deal with Iran, and nothing's changed, and now everything's changed, and let's do a nuclear deal, and let's enable, and let's engage, and let's and it's incredibly frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating because we've seen this over and over and over and over again. This is the same regime. These are the same people who oversee anti-democracy in Iran. These are the same people who restrict women's rights in Iran. These are the same people who are responsible for the death of children in Iran. These are the same people who've created such a dysfunction in that country, 45 years of trauma. Nothing has changed, but suddenly everything has changed. Let them come to the UN and let's have meetings. And finally, I would say, when I talk about the world not caring, sorry, you weren't expecting.
No, I'm taking this all in.
Yeah. I would just say there's been a lot of people, thousands of people all over the world, certainly in the U.S., certainly in New York, where the UN is,
Right.
who have protested, who have taken to the streets in the name of democracy, in the name of lives, in the name of the importance of human rights, either for the Palestinian cause or for Israel and the hostages. Thousands of people on the streets. Where are they? Where are those people? Where's the media? Where's the world when the guy who's the president of the country, of the regime that is bankrolling half the terrorism that happens in the Middle East, if not all of it, I mean, is the genesis of all of this stuff. When that guy comes to town on the terrorist list, the IRGC on the terrorist list, seemingly crickets, there's a few people protesting, God love them out there, not a very big crowd. Media's covering it as if the president
of even that.
No, the coverage is let's hear what the president of Iran has to say. It's extreme short-term memory, or another example of how the West really doesn't care about democracy in Iran. I know that's a naive thing to say. Most people watching who are Iranian are like, yeah, duh, of course. But the West doesn't care about democracy in Iran. What they care about is engaging in whatever way benefits the West. And if that means a regime that is unfair or anti-democratic or totalitarian or murderous to the Iranian people, we're okay with
So
that.
be it. Yeah.
Let's make a deal. Let's do whatever we have to do.
Yeah. Well, if I wasn't affected before, now I am. Jeez.
Now what's your position?
Now,
Smart Pegah.
Here I was saying I've been battling it for 2 days, and now after this,
I didn't actually mean to go on that much of a rant, but I mean, Iranians, I feel, those of us in the diaspora, and let alone those in Iran, are so exhausted, and it's a lot of effort to kind of like protest and kind of, and there's a lot of deflation. And so these things kind of just happen and they, go by. And again, God love them. There's some activists who are always, bringing this to light and who are in social media pointing it out and whatever. But for the most part, nothing happens, and we really do need to call it out.
And that's why I started with, it's disheartening and I am deflated for sure. It's hard to see it and hard to come to those realizations. But on that note, let me
Roqe Live 3.
No,
Namito, let's get to we got to we have to live.
Exactly.
Well. Yeah.
And in the midst of all this doom and gloom, there was some good news as well that kind of affected me. We heard from Shervin Hajipur a couple of days ago that he's been pardoned.
That's right.
So that was something that I also wanted to highlight. I know it's something we've talked about for an extensive amount of time. Shervin being the artist who sang Baraye 2 years ago and won the Grammy for it in 2023. So a couple weeks ago, he came on his Instagram and posted a video and said, he was kind of feeling really upset about this whole ordeal and how he didn't know what was going to happen. And he was being asked to go back to God knows what level of jurisdiction in Iran. But now, 2 days ago, he put up a video saying that he's been pardoned. So in light of the rant we just had, some good news.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good. Yeah. I hope Shervin can make more music that we can all hear.
Absolutely.
He's awesome. Thank you, Smart Pegah.
Thank you.
24 hours till Roqe Live 3.
We're almost
Get
there.
yourself ready. And I'll see you on the back end of Namito coming up. DJ Namito in just a moment here in the Roqe Studio. All right, my featured guest today is an Iranian-German DJ, music producer, a man who fled the Islamic Revolution and war as a kid to move to Berlin and went on to become a prominent figure in the electronic music scene there and then around the world. Ali Khalaj, better known as Namito, has a story that feels like a movie waiting to happen. Born and raised in Tehran, he moves to Germany alone at the age of 13, lives in a commune, and discovers his passion for DJing at the commune's own disco. After the fall of the Berlin Wall, he pursued his music career further, securing a residency at the legendary label and club Tresor, releasing multiple full-length albums, collaborating with top names in electronic music. With over 30 years of experience now in DJing, he has in recent years shifted his focus somewhat to working with and within the Iranian community. And right now, Namito joins me in the Roqe Studio. Hello, sir.
Hello, thanks for having me, and you're well informed, dude.
Was that all right? We got that right.
Almost.
We got that. But
yeah.
What was wrong?
So I'm 35 years DJ.
35 years. Well, I was trying to not age you.
No, I have no issue.
You're okay with that? All right.
Yeah. And I didn't really come alone, like to Germany.
To Germany?
No, I came. I was sent alone, but my uncle was living in West Berlin, so I was not completely.
I was dramatizing the story. He came alone, had no shoes. Yeah. almost. Okay, let's start with the 35 years DJing, because first of all, I didn't know your age, and I knew that you're this popular DJ. So I just assume you're a young guy. DJs have the ability to, you could really do this till you're 100, right? I mean, you don't have to jump around on stage the way Robert Plant would when he was young, you know. So it turns out you're of a certain vintage that allows you to have been a DJ for 35 years. It seems to me that the DJ world and being a DJ has transformed dramatically in the last 3 decades. In the time that you've been a DJ, I would say, and these are obviously broad generalizations, but it's gone from the guy who anonymously was in the club somewhere playing songs that you would go and make a request to basically pretty much the rock stars of today. How have you experienced that change?
So I actually really went through the whole situation. Maybe not the big part of being the superstar, but when I started, the idea was not nobody knew who's DJing at night.
Right.
So people would come, and then they would really come, and we had like a sheet, so they would write down their requests, so they don't annoy us the whole time. Right. So I write it down, I think about it, and then the next day I would just be in the service or at the bar or there was no real star appeal to the whole thing. Right. But then
it wasn't a thing to say tonight, this is the person who's DJing.
Very, very, very rarely.
Right.
So that it was not the general case like now. But it's. I started November 1989 to DJ, and it was like exactly the month where the Berlin Wall came down.
Wow.
Right? First of all, sorry about my German accent.
Why are you apologizing for your German accent?
It sounds weird because I don't look German.
It's true. You do have a. By the way, was the fall of the wall, Berlin Wall, was it related to you beginning DJing? I mean, did you enable the fall of the wall? Was that?
No, that was like David Hasselhoff. Right. No. So first of all, nobody knew that the Berlin Wall will fall. Like 2 days before the whole thing happened, I was there. Like we didn't expect it to happen. It was such a crazy situation that we thought, okay, it's gonna stay there forever.
And you're still a teenager at the time, yeah?
I'm like 17, almost. I turned 18 in November 1989. So So it was something like absolutely a surprise for everybody. Like anybody who says we knew it's going to happen is lying.
Right.
So it was a crazy situation, and at the same time, electronic music was also happening, and
especially in Germany.
In Germany, and I believe the fall of the Berlin Wall really made the whole explosion of techno in Germany possible, because there were so many spaces that were like free, and they had, you know, communism. They had free electricity, free water, free communication. So people would go and sit somewhere and look if someone's living in a house. If for 3 days nobody would come and go, they would just break it up, put some equipment there and start parties, and don't pay any rent, no water, no electricity. So went on for like a long while, and there was no regulation. It was anarchy pure. Right?
Sorry, that's East Berlin?
East Berlin.
Which is kind of where the cool shit was happening, right? Or still is.
Within 6 months after the fall of the Berlin Wall, the whole nightlife disappeared from West Berlin.
Right.
Nobody was interested anymore.
Right,
and
right.
we had a club in that commune that was in West Berlin, and we had to struggle, really. And a lot of clubs closed.
Right.
And people would go like in these wild places and party, and there was no regulation there. East German police had no idea what to do actually with the situation. They were there, but they had no state anymore. You know. Like,
do you remember your first night DJing?
Yeah.
What do you remember what you played?
Yeah.
What was it?
It was Mars, Pump Up the Volume. The first track.
Right.
I was actually 17 yet, and I was really practicing I was going to school, but more practicing DJing at the club. And one of the DJs wanted to actually he wanted to show me it's not so easy, and said, okay, why don't you play? And I started, and he just left.
And was this two turntables and a microphone, like that? You had the vinyl?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the first 15 years I was playing vinyl.
Yeah.
And then he left me alone with the club at 17. It was like my hands were so sweaty, so the vinyl would like slip through.
Right.
And so I had to permanently go like this, and then, but I had so much fun. So he didn't expect that I can hold the energy in the club.
Right.
So I totally remember that. Yeah.
By the way, I love that one of the world's coolest DJs, this mystical Namito, the first song you played was Pump Up the Volume. Basically what would be played on a cruise now by some, top 40 DJ, right? Like, that's quite funny. What was the nature of the night that you were playing? I mean, were you an electronic DJ at that point, or you were just playing the kind of the hits?
We called it ABBA to Zappa. Right. So we would play in that club anything for any direction of music, hip hop, rock, even like classical music sometimes, like a waltz or something, if the situation allowed. But nothing more than 20 minutes. Like it was like chunks of different music styles.
Right.
And but then I was really into electronic music, and it was really annoying that I had to stop after 20 minutes, because you cannot develop any real.
What's the electronic music of that time? I mean, there's like Kraftwerk or whatever, or house music.
No, house music and
right.
like the Shaman and stuff like
right,
that.
Right.
There was not much.
And were you Namito yet?
Yeah.
You were already Namito.
Yeah.
Your name.
Yeah, but Namito is a name that was given to me in the commune.
I see.
So it has nothing to do with my artist name.
But was it already your artist name?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were. And does 18-year-old Namito at the time of the Berlin Wall, who's playing Pump Up the Volume, do you have a sense that this is your destiny? Do you?
No.
That night, are you going, I found my gig for the next 40 years,
No. That was not clear. I thought I'll do it like for 1-2 years. I had just dropped, not yet, but I was really bad at school. And then my teacher knew I lived in the commune, and he hated it, and it was like really giving me a hard time. So I didn't know that it was not a real career back then. Not in 1989. Like there were like famous DJs already.
There was like Jelly Bean or something.
No, like Grandmaster Flash, for example.
Okay,
That. Yeah, and who I ended up producing for 10 years, right? That's
What?
yeah,
You produced Grandmaster Flash?
yeah.
Wow.
You didn't know
I
that?
did not know that. Grandmaster Flash is like the OG. I mean, that's like where it begins in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
hip hop and stuff.
Yeah,
that's remarkable.
That's
What do you?
That's
You
a crazy situation. Yeah.
where did you produce him? In the States or?
Yeah, in New York or in. So he would sometimes come to Berlin, and would do something there, but then on tour or in the Bronx, where he lives.
That's real. I mean, I could do the whole interview about that. Producing
He didn't-
Grandmaster Flash.
The reason why I don't really talk about it is because he's not really like, he doesn't like it too much. If like, he wants his stuff to be, like
More mysterious?
Yeah, it's like it's nothing that he wants to be like me running around talking about. And I respect that.
Did
right?
you do a good job for Grandmaster Flash?
I think so.
Uh-huh.
I think so. Like, he's a very special person. So we made a lot of tracks, and he ended up not releasing them. So because he's like a perfectionist.
Particular.
Yeah, and it was. I thought they have a lot of potential, but he's a boss, right?
I just going back to Berlin for
Yeah.
a second. The city, the place, the experience there, and the kind of nexus that it is between East and West,
Yeah.
and with its particular history in terms of World War II, all of that stuff. And of course, back to the early 20th century, Berlin is the epicenter of culture, and then that gets kind of Charobschude with the war and Hitler and everything. I've always thought of it as pretty much the coolest place in the world. And do you feel like you could have become Namito, I mean the DJ, with all of what you do now, if you were emerging from anywhere else in the world?
No.
You are a
Berlin,
product of Berlin.
absolutely, and also even the music that I'm making now, and Iranians like a lot, has a heavy Berlin influence. Like it's very minimalistic in certain, like the drums, and like if I listen to other people doing similar stuff, they always add a lot of stuff to it, and I keep it minimal, and that's a very Berlin thing, right?
Berlin being in contrast to even other places in Germany?
Yeah. Berlin is not Germany, actually. Berlin, no, really. Like,
Yeah. It's
Berlin,
kind of like New York is not America.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I always say I'm not. I don't feel like as a German, but I'm a Berliner, right? Because the rest of Germany doesn't really have much to in common with me. But I have a lot of Berlin inside me.
Tell me a little bit about how you end up in Berlin. You're this kid. Now we've established you have an uncle there, so you didn't sort of come alone with a carry-on, but you do leave your family in Tehran, and you leave Iran.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to go Sarbazi, you didn't want to be the soldier, but I mean that was years away. You're only 13, but if I remember correctly, during the Iran-Iraq War, young kids were even being sent to the front line, right? So,
Yeah.
so is it true that part of the incentive is you want to avoid that? And then how does it end up Berlin? I mean, there's Canada, there's America, there's Australia, there's all kinds of places that people would be going at that time. How do you end up in Germany, and in particular in Berlin, that shapes your destiny thereafter?
Yeah. So I didn't want to go anywhere. It wasn't me that made the decision. I didn't even know it's going to happen. So my mother, not even my parents, my mother decided that this will happen. And she talked to my uncle, who was living in West Berlin. See, my other cousins and my aunt had left Iran a year before to Paris. And my mom was a bit concerned that I end up at the frontier, right? Like at the in war.
In the war. This is mid 80s, right?
85, yeah.
85.
So back then, nobody really. It was not about draft. It was more they would grab you on the street and just send you to the war, because they had no people really. So that's why she decided that I have to leave. And I remember I was in a walnut tree in August 85, and I was picking some walnuts, and my uncle came and joined me, and he asked me, like, would you like to live in Germany? I was like, no.
Right.
And he was like really pissed and left. And I was like, what a stupid question, you know, like, and I didn't even think about myself. I was like, we can't ever get a visa for Germany. Why is he asking me this shit? You know, like, and then
you knew what Germany was.
Yeah, I was a very heavy Bayern Munich and German national team fan.
And still?
I still am a Bayern Munich.
Still Bayern? Okay.
I don't really watch football anymore because it's too much about money, but it's like it's too much for me. But if I watch, then it's I'm a fan of Bayern Munich.
Okay.
So I had
even with Harry Kane on the team.
Yeah, even with Harry Kane. Did you see the?
I'm an Arsenal
game?
fan, so I anything to do with Spurs and Harry Kane's history, I'm not I can't sanction that. But
yeah,
yes.
well, yeah, but I actually liked German football teams, German aesthetics, and you know, I had a relation to it because of my uncle, but I had no idea that I even didn't have a passport. So and then I went upstairs, and my mom called me and said, "Come here, I need to talk to you." I was like, "Okay." When she talked to me like that, it was something serious.
Right.
And I was thinking, like, okay, what did she find out of all the stuff I've been doing? But then she told me, yeah, next week you're moving to Germany.
Wow.
And I was like, I lost all color in my face. And I was like, no, I'm not. And she was, yeah, there's no discussion here.
Now, she didn't say you're moving to Germany to join a commune.
No. No.
That was you. That was you who goes and finds that.
That was the reason was because I didn't get along with my uncle. Like when I
the same uncle from the walnut tree.
Yes. So he was my superhero, right? And when I came to Germany, I saw the other, you know, like the reality, basically.
Right.
And
the superhero without the cape.
Exactly.
Yeah, right,
so,
yeah.
So I mean, he's a nice guy, but he has a very also another side that I really got to know, and like I learned my German is perfect, right? And it's because of the fear of my uncle.
Wow.
So I was so scared. I learned German in a way. I probably talk better than some Germans. So good for that.
When you end up in Germany, by the way, the age 13, do you speak German?
No.
English?
No.
Nothing. So this is a harrowing move for a young kid.
Yeah, and I ended up in Frankfurt. I had a connecting flight to Berlin, and someone was supposed to bring me to the gate. And when we arrived, he just said, "Good luck, I have to go." And I was like alone,
Wow.
and I got really in a shock situation. Like my vision got really. You know how you're shocked and you don't hear anything, and I didn't know what to do, and I was walking around trying to find out the solution, and then I heard someone talking Farsi. So I went there and asked them if they can help me to go to the Berlin gate, and luckily they were going to Berlin themselves.
Wow.
So that was a crazy shock right at the beginning.
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to end up how you end up in the commune.
So
you don't get along with the uncle.
Yeah, and it was like
you're not good at school. Why are you not good at school?
No, I was actually so in Iran I was pretty good. Like I had like beast the whole time, and then when I went to Germany, I had to repeat the 7th grade, which they told me, okay, we will only evaluate your German, your development in your German. Which was like pretty good after half a year, and then after a year I was like pretty fluent, and then from the 8th grade I actually was okay, like doing pretty okay, not too bad. But then the situation at home got really worse and worse, and I went to the high school and had this teacher that really hated me. So in Germany, the number 1 is the best and 6 is the worst, right?
Why is 6 the worst? What
It's-
kind of
so
scale is
it's how
that?
they how they
1 to
operate.
6. Okay, yeah.
So 1 is the best.
All right.
So I had in math and physics 1, for
Right.
example. At the end of the second year at high school, I was at 5. But it had nothing to do with my, because I don't suddenly become dumb
Right.
or not understanding but the teacher really like sabotaged
Right,
really
right.
actively and I lost, at one point I just lost interest, to be honest. I was like, okay, I had nobody who would come and back me up at saying, why is this happening? Like, so my uncle, but like, he was not supportive in that case. And I was like, at one point, I was, okay, it is how it is. I have to somehow finish this, which I didn't do.
Right.
I dropped out of school and became a DJ. So, but why did I end up in the commune is, at school, I met some kids that lived in the commune, and it was exactly the opposite of what I was living through, right?
Right.
So they had this really freedom,
Liberal, be yourself.
hippies,
Right.
be yourself, like 50 people living together. I used to play soccer with them, right? So every Monday we would go, and it was like such a lovely atmosphere, and at home it was just like dark, and so at one point I realized I don't want that, it's...
Are your parents in touch at this point in Iran?
Good question, because that was before internet, right? So there was like...
Because I can't imagine they would be that happy about this. We sent our son.
Commune?
Yeah.
No, everybody was like super... Like, it had the same, image as Scientology.
Sure.
They were
yeah,
like super
yeah.
scared of me being dragged into this cult.
Cults, yeah.
But then, it was never anything like that. I was in the middle of the cult, and they were just having fun. That's it. And we didn't send anybody money. We had just had a great time. But so they were scared, and my uncle was like really like the situation was getting worse and worse with us. So at one point, my mom just said, "Okay, before this ends in a catastrophe, let him go. I just misporamش به خدا." Yeah, and and I was like gone. Yeah.
When you were in Iran, up until 13 years of age, and some of those years are pre-revolution,
Yeah.
so there's a fertile music scene. It's pop and things, but did you have an artistic kind of streak in you? Would it have been obvious if I had met Namito at 9 years old in Tehran that he's going to become a world famous DJ?
No, I was really bad in music, actually. One of my guesses, like I had no musicality in me, but I was painting a lot. Like I paint and sell my paintings.
Yes.
Also. So
you were already a creative person.
yeah, I'm a creative guy. Like my mind is not so really business oriented. It's more like guts and emotions and creativity, actually. So and no, you wouldn't have without that commune that had a club, I would not become a DJ.
What were you like as a kid?
I always thought I'm very mazloom, but I wasn't. Retrospectively, I was a very shaitan guy, actually, but very low key. And my daughter's like that.
Ah. And by the way, how old are your daughters?
I have one, and she's 18.
18.
Yeah.
And does she think her dad is cool?
Yeah.
She's not rebelling.
Definitely the coolest dad.
Well, I mean, that's pretty cool, Dad.
That's cool.
Yeah, I would think. But I thought maybe,
No, we have a very strong bond, and I actively worked on that very hard for that to happen.
Tell me about arriving. So in '85, you end up in Berlin, and one of the things that inspires you is hearing Depeche Mode.
Yes.
Which meant a lot to me because Depeche Mode was one of those, along with Bowie, one of those groups that informed my interests when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
What was it? What did you hear, and what was it about Depeche Mode that helped you figure out your path?
So the first track I heard in Germany was "Shake the Disease" by Depeche
Such
Mode.
a good song.
Oh, I was like, damn, this sounds so like different, and you know, like that was like really. I think that had a very, very, up till today, a very heavy influence on me, and also how I make music. So I went to a ton of concerts of them, and also the whole new wave stuff in the 80s. That was really like my cup of tea. Yeah.
When do you realize that DJing is not just something you're doing for fun or once in a while taking over from the guy at the club who's giving you sweaty palms, but something that this is now something you're going to pursue and something that could potentially be a career?
It was around 1992, right? Like, and I realized I started to throw my own events, and we like pulled 800 people on a Sunday night in Berlin.
You're still super young at that point. I mean,
I was like 21, yeah. But and I had 1993. I had a new girlfriend, and she came to me and said, "What the fuck are you doing here in this commune and playing like 80s and you know, like all sorts of music? Your heart says play techno, right?" And I was like, see, I was in a very comfortable situation. We had in the commune, we had like everything sorted out. We would just go to the work and come back. The food was cooked. My clothes would got washed and you know, like fold.
Right.
And then so I had a very I was in a comfort zone, and she came and told me, no, you have a bigger vision. You should go for it, and you can do it. And then I left the
Who
commune.
is this woman? Does she make
Saida.
a commission
like
from what
you're?
Oh, you're still together? I mean, you
No,
owe
we
a
are
lot.
not.
Oh, I mean, you still know her.
Yeah. No, we are best friends, and my godfather to her kids and stuff. And no, she had a big influence on my life, and because she kicked my ass like in the right moment, and I'm very grateful for that. Because I wouldn't have done it probably myself. I was a bit insecure in that time, because you know, like how do I say it? The whole world collapsed in a way in Berlin, and everything was going on in East Berlin, and we were in West Berlin. The commune was 500 meters away from the club, so I would just walk.
You were in a bubble.
I was in a bubble,
Yeah.
and I was not really taking risks, and she made me take risks, actually.
I think of you as a musical artist, right? You would call yourself a musical artist?
Yeah, I'm not a musician. I
Are you comfortable with the term artist?
Artist is better, because I cannot read notes and play piano.
But you create music.
Yeah, I can hear it. I can hear. How do I say it? I obviously I make music since 1996. Actively producing music and releasing. I made 400 tracks in my career.
Yeah.
So I am in a way also a musician, but I'm not a learned. I cannot compare myself to someone who can play an instrument or anything. I'm more. I know what will sound, what will work in a club. And I'm work as long as on a track until it sounds right for that purpose.
I once did an interview with Deadmau5, and he said, "I'm not an artist. I'm a guy who presses buttons. I'm fooling everybody." He was being modest, but his point was that what we do. He is a genius. What we do is different. I mean, he's a computer genius.
Yeah.
He started off as a tech kid, you know, and that, and you have to a certain extent, be that. The reason I'm asking is not whether it doesn't really matter whether you call yourself an artist or not, but when do you start realizing that this is a creative platform for you? Because again, with the evolution of the DJ, and not to take anything away from DJs who may have existed 40 years ago who were creative, but it was more of a service gig, that this, you know, here's the playlist I'm going to play for it, and it's morphed into something much more creative in terms of people looking up to DJs as these creative heads, you know. Yeah. When did that happen for you?
I think it was around 1993. There was like this this crazy spark in the air after the fall of Berlin Wall. I don't know, there was this optimism, right? And then we thought we can just conquer the world. We had just finished the Soviet Union, and now we will conquer the world with the music. And it was really exciting. And I was very lucky because, you know, back then making music was very expensive. Like a studio was like nothing you could afford. Today I buy a computer. That's it. It's like, and then you have cracked software.
Today you tell AI to make it for you. Yeah.
For example,
yeah.
And then, but then back then it was like really expensive, and I didn't have the money. So one day I was at the club, at the Kit Kat club, and then a guy came to me and said, "Oh, I really like your music, and do you make music?" I was like, "Unfortunately, I don't have the means to make music. I would love to." And he said, "Oh, I have a studio. Why would you like to go with me and try something?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" And then on Monday he came and picked me up, and then I thought maybe he's like into young boys or something. But my curiosity was like, you know, like more
right superseded your concerns. Yeah,
exactly. And then we went, and he had really a big studio. And actually, you know Nina Hagen?
Sure.
So it was in her old flat in East Germany.
Wow.
Right. So he told me, I remember he told me that. So we went in, and then it was like full of stuff, and obviously I could not, you know, operate any of them. So he showed me one of the drum computers a bit, how to program it, and started to play and record, and we had like a 2-hour session, and then at the end of the session he unplugged the drum computer, gave me the manual, and said, "Next time, maybe you know a bit better about this device." So I went and learned about it, and we tried to...
Do you remember what the drum machine was?
Yeah, it's a Yamaha RY30.
Okay.
And then I remember he was working during the day, I was working at night, so we had difficulties to find mutual time. And then one day I came home, and my girlfriend was like really happy about something, and I was like, what happened? And she was like, yeah, Andreas called, and he asked me if it's okay to put the studio in our flat.
Wow.
So it was like, we're talking about like $150,000 worth
Wow.
of equipment. And he didn't
Just
really know me. Really, like he was like an angel. Unfortunately, he died 2 years ago in his sleep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
Between him and the girlfriend, these people revolutionized
these people were like angels in my life, right?
I'm curious when, you know, I'm a musician, I've written songs. I mean, when you're a songwriter, there's a few different reasons why people write songs. Sometimes it's a completely cathartic. I'm going through a breakup, so I'm going to write a song, you know, and sometimes, especially at high levels, there's musicians who are writing with an intention to write something that's going to become a hit, or something that's going to be heard by a lot of people. What is the process for you? Is it how cerebral, how intentional is what you come up with, or is it something that's just artistic for you, and if it happens to become a hit, it happens to become a hit?
I don't think you can, with the budget I have, you cannot say this is going to be a hit. Like if you have a lot of money and can push marketing, you can make tracks hits. But I never had that, and I actually look at the whole thing more in an artistic way. So I have to feel something. Otherwise, it becomes a stiff track. You know, like something has to be triggered in me, and I tell that to everybody who wants to have a remix or to collaborate. I was like, I have to feel it. If I don't feel it, you can throw out as much money as you want. I don't think it will work. And I probably like I want my music to be heard, right? It's not that I never make music for just like me and my
I'm
body.
happy in my bedroom with my music.
For me, it's like important. I wanted as many people as possible to hear it and have a good time. But I don't like. I wish I could write hits. Like some people can really write hits one after each other, but with me, it's like it's more like I just do what I feel, and sometimes it hits.
Did you know that Stoneflower would become a hit?
In a way, yes.
So you did know with that one.
It's weird. It was not that I know it will, but I had a good feeling about it. So, and it has a reason. I made Stoneflower from
Gole
Sangam.
Exactly.
It was like the funeral of my brother-in-law, and my sisters started to sing it. And I didn't even remember that song. I just got a goosebump. And I was like, okay, this is...
It's like a traditional Iranian song or something, right?
Yeah, and from Haide, and then I just took them to the other room and told them to sing in my iPhone, and thank God they did, because it was kind of rude to us in that situation.
Yeah.
But and I used that recording.
That's on the recording.
On the track.
I love that story. It's your sisters.
And also, like, I took around 1.5 years to work on that track. I have like 10 different versions. That never satisfied me like 100%.
What were you looking for? What are the metrics of being satisfied?
I can't tell you. It's I just played it. I always test my stuff on the dance floor, and I thought something was odd. It was like working, but I could not tell. And
on the dance floor, meaning you play it in front of a crowd?
Yeah. I always test all my tracks.
I see.
Even if it sounds bad, I test to see, okay, what about...
Is there some vibe? Are people reacting?
Are they reacting?
Huh.
So that's an advantage we have.
Right.
And then one day I got a TR-8, the drum computer from Roland.
Yeah.
And I was like...
The 808.
Yeah, it's like the new version of that.
Oh. I think I had the original back in the 80s when I was a kid.
So it's a new one, has also 909 and 707. So and I had it there standing there. I was like, I think it's the drums that annoying me, because it was sounding so old school. And I just threw all the drums out and then recorded one take with the TR-8. That was it. And I knew, okay, this is now the final version. And then, I was, and the label, the owner of the label that released it didn't even answer me at the beginning. Because he didn't know me and stuff, and he gets a lot of like emails. But then his wife is Iranian, so and I talked to her, and I knew her from LA. And she really liked it, and she asked me if I want to release it on Soul Selectors.
It's so good. It's so good, but it's also it became something of a phenomenon, in terms of its success. You probably didn't anticipate all of that.
No.
I mean, that song alone, that piece, has probably taken you to a next level, right? In terms of your people knowing you.
Yeah, it was for 2 years in the charts.
Yeah.
And it's not, Iranians don't buy Beatport, right? In Beatport, they have no access.
It doesn't report Iranians in Iran, you mean?
No, and Beatport is the platform for electronic music, but it's not Iranians who don't have credit cards or PayPal. So it's like non-Iranians who bought it for, I think it's still selling a lot of copies until today, after 5 years. And I have no other track that I play for 5 years and people just go nuts. It's crazy.
I'm going to ask you about what sounds like, an intentional decision to integrate more back into the Iranian community, but I mean, as a way of getting there, those years in Berlin after you move and you're becoming a Berliner, as you've said, how Iranian were you? How much were you? How many Zero.
Zero.
You didn't even really have Iranian friends,
No,
right?
I even stopped talking Iranian, Farsi. Like even that girlfriend I told you, she kicked my ass also there. And like we went to an Iranian restaurant and I ordered in German. She was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh, were you angry about
Yeah,
being Iranian, or what?
No, I was like, one reason was I came to Germany and every Iranian in Germany was talking shit about Germany. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, why are you here? And then I also like saw how they don't treat each other really well, you know, like push هم حرف می‌زدن and stuff. So I started.
Thank God that doesn't happen anymore.
No, it's part of the culture. I get it, but for me, then also because I didn't want to have much to do with my uncle. He had like, so I was like withdrawing from the whole.
I mean, I went through something similar. I'm not going to lie, because as a teenager, you know, I mean, as a kid, the revolution happened. You know, here there wasn't a big Iranian community. The news every night was bad news, the hostages, whatever, and so I basically went into an ethnic closet, you know, until I was in my late teens and at university, and suddenly realized in the 90s, wait a minute, why am I embarrassed of being Iranian? I love, you know, did you? I mean, do you somehow regret that you sort of gave up your Iranianness for a while? Because the paradox or the irony is, Germans didn't think you were German, right?
No.
Right?
No.
I mean, Germans would, you know, as hard as you might try to be German, you know, you would never actually be German either.
No,
so you were kind of disassociating yourself and becoming homeless to a certain extent.
Yeah. So it's I will never forget the day I got the German passport, and it took 17 years for me. Right? It was a very hard because like. They asked me to go to the Iranian embassy and ask for the release from the Iranian citizenship, and they don't answer that, right? Back then they didn't. I think they still don't do that, but I think in the year 2001, the policy changed in Germany, and you could go and you know, like get the dual citizenship. And when I got it, right, and I thought now everything changed. And I came out and everybody was looking the same way at me.
Right. The passport doesn't actually change the packaging, unfortunately.
Even at the border, like I talked to other friends with the same problem. It's like, man, they when they looked at the refugee passport, they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Here, go. And then with German passport, they're looking like holding on, you know, like they didn't build trust that I'm a German. And up till today, they talk English to me when I arrive in Germany, right? It's so funny. I talk German to them, they talk English.
So you have an accent in German?
No, I don't. Like my German is perfect, really. But
I don't get it. So then,
yeah, I don't get it. It's like they don't expect me to be a German. Like, okay, and I was like, and they speak even worse English than me. With the accent.
Right.
And I was like, I'm just talking German to you, dude. I was like, okay, whatever. And then, but that's also like one of my main problems with Germany is you can be there as long as you want. You will never be accepted.
You're an other. Have you felt that, especially as you grew your profile in Germany? Have you felt that? Have you felt actual overt racism?
I like ran away from 13 Nazis in East Germany and jumped out of a window of a club. Like, so we experienced a lot of like bullshit. But Germans are good people, right? Don't get me wrong. But they are not. Germany is not an immigration country. They really struggle with that. And right now, it's a
lot of Persians there now. A lot of Iranians.
A lot of Iranians, and the good thing about Iranians is they adopt, right? But a lot of other people don't adopt, and they want to change Germany, and it's
Turks. A lot of Turks there.
No, the Turks are actually they didn't do that when I arrived. So there were people in my class who could not speak German. It was crazy. In 7th grade, no German. But right now they are just like integrated, the latest generation. But then, you know, they have all the refugees and stuff. It's not all of them, but quite a bit is like not really adapting to the...
How do you self-identify now?
I identify as an earthling.
I'm
not, I don't
That's
belong
not a
anywhere.
trick answer. You're actually saying...
No, I'm okay. I can tell you...
By the way, one of Bowie's worst albums, Earthling. But anyway. It all comes back to Bowie. The Berlin years. Come on, I had to.
To be honest, there is one place on this planet where I really arrive and I feel home. It's California. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's as if...
Meaning L.A.?
L.A. and, you know, like...
Because of the Persian community?
No, it's not only that. There's something in the air.
But you still live in Berlin, right?
I live in Berlin, but I'm hardly in Berlin, and I'm traveling all the whole time. So since I went there the first time 2010, and it was like I felt that back then. I always feel really like sad when I leave it.
Interesting.
So
maybe that's your destiny. What does your daughter? How does she self-identify?
She's German.
She's
German.
Is she interested in being Iranian?
No, she is like. It was a wrong answer. She doesn't look at herself as a foreigner. She was born in, but she really loves the Iranian culture. She speaks Farsi pretty fluently, and which I'm proud of because that's basically me alone.
That's amazing.
Trying to make that happen, and for the first 10 years,
you don't speak Persian fluently.
No,
but she does.
No, she's like she has an accent.
Right.
And it's very cute, but you know, like it's my aim was so she can talk to her grandma, right? And she doesn't
Beautiful.
feel like a you know, like foreigner in Iran. If she and man, it's like she has this really Iranian side in herself. And I love that.
Talk to me about what the precipitant was to get back in touch with the Iranian community in a bigger way.
Music-wise, you mean, or just?
Well, normally I would think it's a weird question to ask, but you've specifically said that. I think there was an interview you did where you say, I want to come back to the Iranian community more. Why did that? Okay, when did that happen?
That was specifically after Stoneflower. Like that triggered something that I realized how much it means to the Iranian people to have another you know, like point of view to Iran than, you know, like always bad news, terror and nuclear deal and so so many people wrote to me like how much it means to them, and so I tried to, you know, like it was fun to find more stuff, more great lyrics, like for Ali Kashani, for example. So that was the moment I realized I want to give people more. This is the only thing I can do. I'm not a politician. I'm not good at. It's so dirty. I don't get it, right? So I don't want to get involved anymore into politics. But I want to bring people joy with my music. That's the only thing I can do, right?
And Iranians really love you.
Yeah, I mean, I love them.
but that audience has grown exponentially, right? That in terms of that connection that the Iranian. I mean, now when you play a gig, you come to somewhere like Toronto. What percentage of the audience is Iranian?
100%. It's crazy.
That's like, huge for you.
It's huge and it's growing, and I'm very grateful for that. And Max Amini actually once told me, don't be an asshole and say, oh, I don't want to have the Iranian crowd, you know, like, and I agree with him. It's, as he said, they are extremely, you know, like supportive, extremely good looking, and you know, like it's fun to and I get so much love. It's I cannot tell you, like it's extremely rewarding.
Iranians also, young Iranians, really like electronic music.
Yeah.
They like to party with this kind of, I mean, to put it very, very broadly, because it means a lot of different things, but DJ-inspired music. Do you have a theory about why that is, as opposed to, say, rock music or something?
It's the same that happened in Germany or in US. It's at one point, it's more like in Germany it was the same. We fought for it actually to happen, and then because it was very rock and pop oriented, and then now if it's like all the big hits are electronic music, and it has established itself. All the like guys I know, the kind of music crew from Berlin, they pull 30,000 people in Madrid. It's insane. I love it, right? But it's a modern way of looking at life. It's very easygoing in a way also. Like it's not like if you go to a club night, and I think you can release more stress with this kind of music than especially the instrumental ones, right? Because you don't. It's a universal language. If it triggers emotions in you, then it doesn't matter where you come from.
Right.
That's what I did for 25 years.
Do Iranians inside Iran have a lot of access to your music? Do you feel like you're...
I think like most people know the tracks, they don't know me. So or Ali Kashani, for example, but they love Last Journey. It's interesting. That's because I'm not really good in marketing, first of all, and second of all, like I didn't work with Radio Jawan, for example, which I'm changing now. I'm going to start to work with them, and because I want Iranians to have access to my music. Right now, they can go to my Telegram channel and download some of the tracks, because I know they cannot have a Spotify or all the other platforms. But
do you know much about the electronic scene inside Iran these days?
I know a bit.
And how is it?
It's very interesting. You know, it's probably the true underground in the world is because they are really in
they have to be underground. Right.
Yeah.
They're not being hipsters. They actually have to be underground. Yeah.
Like I've been to a few events there, and it's some of them are pretty dark, right? Because I think music always reflects what's happening in the country. Like also even in Germany, when there are like dark times, the music tends to go like dark. And then when like in the 90s, where we had like this optimism, if you listen to the music, it's just like pure like love, and you know, like it's all in major, and it has a correlation, I think. But I think for the underground scene in Iran, for example, I'm too commercial now. Like
interesting.
Yeah, which I understand that my goal is a different goal now.
What is your goal now?
My goal is now to, and I wrote it, it's a very bold statement, right?
Okay.
I want to modernize the Iranian music. That's, we did it with German music, why not with Iranian music?
It seems like you're doing that.
But
don't the kids in Iran then have to see you as an inspiration rather than too mainstream?
No, I don't. It's an assumption. I don't know if they do that, but probably the DJs do. I don't know. You know,
I was going to go back full circle. You have a track that it is instrumental, actually. It's called Jian and the Rainbow.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
So that was inspired by pain, definitely. Because I have a kid, right? And when Jian was killed, I got really emotional. And I had to find some sort of a ventil. And I wrote the track and and released it. It was painful. It was nothing beautiful. I like the track. It's very emotional to me. But unfortunately, the very, very dark reason to make that track.
It's a great pleasure getting to talk to you.
Thank you.
I'm impressed and proud of, if you don't mind me saying, of your longevity in terms of how you've built what you do, and
Thank you.
the respect that you have for what you do. What drives you these? I mean, are you making a lot of money?
No.
Really? Seems like you would make a lot of money.
No, it's good. It's good money, but it's not like I'm not a millionaire, right? Like it's not like what a lot of people think that, but it's like more the social media. It's good. It's solid money.
Do you want to make a lot of money?
It was never really my focus ever.
Doesn't seem like it.
No,
if you're,
like,
you know,
I had.
It's not the reason you're in this.
No, I had offers from Paul van Dijk's management, and they offered me, if you put on a mullah, costume, we will make you a superstar. I said, thank you.
Wow.
I'm okay where I am. I don't need all the money. Yeah.
What does that even mean?
It means like attention, right?
Wow.
So don't get me wrong. Like I'm not starving, right?
No, I mean
I mean, people think, okay, like DJs make millions. It's not like that.
Well, I think that because if you're very successful, because your overhead is low, you don't have to. You're not carting around a band and 10 crew members.
Some DJs do that, but I think my crowd is very Iranian, and we are pretty new into the whole thing. I think we can get there. That everybody makes good money with that, but it's still not there. But I think it's possible. I think we can. There's so much space for us to grow and have great events, and I think we should all work together to achieve that. Right? But it's unfortunately not a very Iranian thing to do. Collaboration.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm trying it.
Yeah. But even though you have the German passport, you can't take the boy out of Iran.
Yeah, the German passport is just like, like a really powerful passport. Germany, right now, I don't feel like they want us really, right? There's this movement to get rid of foreigners. It's a European thing, but it doesn't give a good feeling to me, right?
It's sad to hear from someone who's been there for 30 years.
Yeah, it's like almost
more,
40
actually.
years.
Yeah, 40 years, yeah.
And it's like I tell you, if I enter America, I feel more accepted than when I come to Germany. It's just like always they look at you and okay, why does he have to be here?
But then they find out you're a famous DJ and treat you well.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to. Germans are not bad people. Like it comes across a bit. I'm a bit insulted by some of them because we are being generalized to.
You also live there. Look, even somewhere like Canada, from the outside, people look at it and think this is such an open and tolerant place. Once you live somewhere, you start to feel it. You can, that that otherizing exists all over the world to a certain extent too. Hey man, thank you. Nice to have you in Toronto. Nice to have you in the studio. Proud of you. Can't wait to see what you do next musically. And it's been a real pleasure.
Likewise.
Fellow Depeche Mode fan. Cheers.
Cheers.
This is Roqe episode 339. DJ Namito has left the studio. I really enjoyed that. What an incredibly modest guy as a DJ superstar.
He's amazing. Honestly, I was actually going to mention that I've seen him a couple of times live, and one of the things I noticed is that same modesty, even in his programs, because a lot of DJs, you see them, on these kind of platforms or on stages, kind of raised. But I've actually been to shows where he's been so entrenched and where the people are. There was one particular show where he was in this kind of like circular DJ booth, literally in the middle of everyone. And to see that modesty at his shows and also to hear it here, it was incredible.
Lovely guy, and somebody who's really khud sakhte. He's built everything himself from the ground up. That story of there's a 13-year-old coming and then finding his way in Germany and still actually having some misgivings about how he's treated in Germany. That was interesting as well. I would just want to say, for people who can't tell if they're watching this from behind the desk, you know, most Iranians that you meet, most Iranian men tend to be they tend to be short. Iranians are short. You know, the average height of an Iranian man is 5'7". They're always shorter than me.
5'7" short?
It's very
really?
5'7" is short.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in the world, it's short. Certainly shorter than me.
Okay.
A lot shorter than not Namito.
No, he's much
A
taller.
very tall man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a towering man.
I didn't
This
realize
DJ
that until
Namito.
now, actually.
Yeah, I was going to say, could you tell on stage how
No, I don't think I ever really paid attention to that.
he's impressive. He's like Colossus. He's like the Maidana Shahyad in a human.
What a reference.
Yeah. A pre-1979
Yeah, exactly.
term for. Thank you, Pegah.
Thank you.
Great pleasure. See you at Roqe Live
Yes,
tomorrow.
see
Some
you
tickets
tomorrow.
still available. Go to our website, roqemedia.com, where you can get all of our past episodes, our videos, etc. And tickets, if they're still available, to Roqe Live 3. You can find them there. Thanks to the amazing team who put this show together each week. Smart Pegah, of course, Super Patty Sauce, Savvy Roham, Bearded Omid, Talented Anahita, Methodical Kaveh, Solid Samin, and Tina, the Video Queen. Thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already on any of our platforms. Find me on Instagram at Jian Gomeshi. And as ever, Mizun Bashin.